What is this? Characteristics of good parenting. Parenting. Characteristics of healthy parenting. Bosh, bosh. Let's listen in.
These are some of the characteristics of good parenting. The first rule is to give only one warning before issuing a consequence. I use the word consequence for a particular reason. A
One warning.
punishment has to do with getting back at or exacting a pound of flesh when some mistake has been made.
Oh, he couldn't say a pound of flesh. He couldn't wait. He could not wait.
However, a consequence is simply something that happens, a limit.
Oh, because life just happens to all of us. So you have to teach the bash immediately. Number one, give only one warning before issuing a consequence. Hmm. Of course, the parent is the guide for the child. But according to what? What does the parent see? Does its parent only see consequence, or does or do they see the purpose? Not their purpose, and oh, I have my purpose and you have your purpose, and we're just helping each other fulfill our own purposes. Yes, yes, yes. Bash.
Or a result of one's behavior. A consequence ties reality together, and that helps children learn.
Oh, because a child couldn't possibly be learning relentlessly, meaning day in, day out, being exposed to the life everlasting. Wow. No, it couldn't be.
If parenting is supposed to be about loving, teaching, and setting limits,
If, right? If. Why do you say if? Is it not supposed to be? What are you saying? You can't stand there and say, okay, parenting is supposed to be, not even supposed to. Parenting is loving your child unconditionally and guiding them in truth. Well, that's all you have to say. Truth to what? The truth of the Father. Yes, we are in His image. Amen. Hallelujah. Forever and ever. Yes. But no, you're going to say, give only one warning because you are the giver of justice. Yes. I of justice.
giving them consequences rather than punishment would be the appropriate move.
Wow.
If a parent gives only one warning, it says to a child that the parent is a person of their word.
Oh, and they're so merciful because they give me one warning and then smash. So a child will only defy the parent if the child sees hypocrisy. Wow, who knew a child knows what hypocrisy is without even having to know the word or even the meaning? They know. They know. So if a parent is asking them to do something and the child knows the parent is a hypocrite, of course the child will just do whatever it wants because it knows it's this person is not guiding me. This person is not what is this? So just confused or just abandoned. And who knew that the swarm devours that which is life everlasting. And what is a child if not life everlasting? As you are and everything else around you, yet you call it a finite system. Oh, it's a finite system in a fine-tuned reality. Well, what are you saying? So are we, at every given every given moment, just susceptible to just life just, whew, just vaporizing? No. Yet we somehow believe that. Oh, because we're just a marble that can get smashed at any given moment. Wow, what bash.
They are consistent. They mean what they say, and they are someone they can count on.
Oh, they're consistent here. So he said they're consistent about and they can count on. Very important, right? But that's just the obvious. That's just the obvious. But of course not the obvious to that who believes in the lie.
If a parent gives more than one warning, what they've really done is told the child that more chances are always to come, that they've got a little bit more room to wait, kind of like a snooze alarm. The child knows that, and so they push the limits even more.
Oh.
And then parents feel aggravated, but it was really a breakdown in parenting itself. In most cases, children's misbehavior is going to be exactly that. It's more about a breakdown of effective parenting than a bad child or a disturbed child.
A bad or disturbed child. Who knew that any name that you would come up with to call a child that is tormented, relentlessly exposed to trauma, has legions of faces and names, okay? The cause is the same. Reckless abandonment. Beginning with the parent, and then the child has no, it's just out a sitting duck. Who knew? Even if you're there relentlessly every day for the child, it's a it's it's a relationship based on a false love that the child is learning because it was misled from the love that giveth and bring life forth forever and ever. But no, we have totally bashed our our connection. We're relentlessly bashing our place on earth and fulfilling our own purpose in its split, fragmented, light shattering way. Wow. And who knew that the children are learning that? And of course, you can just treat it as a business transaction and, come to, you know, just trauma this, trauma that response, just creating a little obedient little mini version of you, which has nothing to do about bringing a child up in truth, showing him the way. To the Father, who giveth everlasting life, forever and ever. Yes, amen.
The second principle is to make sure the consequences that are used are natural and logical for the given situation.
Oh, make sure the consequences are natural and logical. What does that even mean? So what kind of punishment are we talking about? Timeout, a spanking, a good talking to. What are you saying? Getting down on one knee so you're at their level and blah blah blah, mash mash mash, mash 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 mash. A child doesn't need psychotherapist. Okay, a child needs a full embodiment of the temple of, that's right, the worship of the Father that giveth life. And anything but that will just open up the child to the swarm. And of course, the child will rebel and this and that and this and the other. And you'll be, oh, what do I do? What did I do to deserve this? Ah, bash. Bash hood. And of course, it's temptation that the child will relentlessly see from the world. So how has the parent prepared the child for this? Because who knew that the child would come to doubt and be tempted and then question their own parents for why they make them do certain things or don't allow them to make the others, or who knew? Wow. So what is this person saying? He's just saying, well, the child's gonna wanna push the limits and test you because he wants control, blah blah blah. Bash. Bash, what are you saying? The purpose of the life is to see. Because the flesh come about from the life that giveth relentlessly with love. Love. Wow, who knew? Just full of it. Relentlessly. Wow. Unconditional. It doesn't discriminate. It bringeth forth relentlessly. And no matter how hard this thing or the whatever thing believes that they're the ones for bringing forth life and themselves forward into some abyss of a future that they think, whoa, this is my purpose and it means so much to me. Wow, what bash. What bash. What a shame. What a shame. This is the face of inevitable inevitable shame.
Natural consequences make sense and they come right out of the actions themselves. If a person puts their hand on a hot stove, it will be burned, and therefore they will learn not to put their hand there.
Who knew that any parent can just bash their child to make them do whatever they want? Who knew? So there's all these bash, rules and this and conditions for every household. And
There again. But if somebody charged a person
so for every household, there's different rules and this and that. So how is healthy parenting just making your child do whatever you want? That's not healthy parenting. Isn't it about the truth and not your truth or any of these fragmented fractals of holograms of parents? I say it because that's what you believe. Is it about all these split representations of some truth according to their image and their bash, trauma, this trauma, blasting into the abyss and battling thoughts left and right and watching the river of thoughts and desire rockets blast there, and then now all of a sudden, whoa, I know the truth. What truth? There's only one truth. The way of everlasting life. Amen. Part 2 begin. Insert. Insert. Out, in, out, ooh, oh, the light. So again, consequences are natural and logical. Wow. Who knew it was just who knew it was just so natural? And that's why you worship Gaia. Because you have identified as being in the marble image of Gaia and you worship it. You worship the world as if it were your little egg that is for you to just keep warm and keep safe so that we can just pave the way to space. Wow, what bash.
And $50 for trying to put their hand on a hot stove. The person will feel things are unfair and be tempted to put it on the stove again.
Oh, what shame. Just treating the child as if it were just a imbecile. Just completely useless, unable to even know what hot is and how it could actually hurt it. Oh no, they're just too stupid. They're just gonna go ahead and do it anyway. Hmm. What bash? It couldn't be that that child is bashed and traumatized in his life by the abandonment of the parent and the defiled corruption of their image that now they are just relentlessly defiling because they have no they're sitting ducks. Yet they know a very profound truth. Could it be they know the truth, but then they have no guidance? What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? Selling our children to the world for the highest bidder of how you can reward yourself and say, yes, I'm such a great parent. I made such a successful little version of me in the world. And they're going to go and mash and think they're going to change and blast and blast. And wow, what a shame.
The consequence makes no logical sense. It's difficult at times to find a
The concept, who knew a child doesn't even to know the word consequence. It knows. Wow. It knows. It's living. Who knew a child is living? Who knew? Who knew a child is living? Who knew? Yet relentlessly defiled to, no, 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 you don't know anything. We have to teach you. You have to learn the ways of the world and the world. Whoa, 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 whoa. The swarm. All because it is the worship of the swarm that relentlessly defiles day in, day out. Wow, who knew?
really logical consequence. But if parents really look hard enough, they really should be able to find it.
They really should be able to find it. Yeah. This is Super Mario because he goes out and smashes. He just smashes. And his cousin is probably out in another classroom just tunneling other smashes and bringing people in and out and in and out and in and out and bashing. Who knew? Who knew? Who knew?
The third principle is to be consistent and to follow through on any consequences given.
Be consistent. So don't just give him a warning and just if he does it, just okay, okay. No, you must be consistent and follow through on all consequences given. It couldn't be that you must be consistent in the word of God, meaning in the image of God. God created light into being. Wow. He spoke it into being. Wow. Who knew then that light could use it, the murmur, to deceiveth you to believe in and worship in it instead of the Father that giveth everlasting life. Wow, who knew? Who knew? And that it's a spiritual battle. The child does not need to know that his physical flesh will be relentlessly defiled in this mortal snapshot of everlasting life in the image of God. Who knew? So it's not about fearing, it's about knowing the truth. Wow. It's not about knowing some little thing that you're going to believe and it makes you feel good and then that's what going to be your life. Wow, what a shame. There's swarm legion ways to certain death, but only one way to return to the Father, who giveth everlasting life relentlessly. For he hath created the masterpiece of creation, and we are the purpose. There is no other purpose other than knowing that the flesh is the purpose to see the truth. Yes, forever and ever. Undefiled, and the truth is our refuge by being consistent and follow through. Walk the narrow but certain way to the Father. Yes. Wow, who knew? Who knew there was such a thing as certainty in the living? Not some future plan you have to do and this and teach children to be bash and that's why they shouldn't do behaviors, or you can even lie to yourself and logically explain situations, this and the other, and the child, guess what the child hears? Because ultimately the child either says, Mommy, Daddy, either you love me relentlessly and know the truth and guide me in the truth, or you're bashing me. And so the child is just going to develop an attachment to the parent based on the fleshly rewards. And knowing how to manipulate, the child then learns how to manipulate and this and that, all because they are relentlessly defiled away from the love of the Father. If the child knows they have the love of the Father, wow, who knew that that would be amazing and that they would not go out and get defiled and seek some false love of the ways of the world that just seek it to devour and destroy and ultimately steal what? The everlasting life that you have yet day in, day out negate. All because you're pursuing some image of yourself and how boasted you are and how you're just gonna project and do your best and just relentlessly try and fail, but know their lessons somehow. And oh yes, I just sin, get hemorrhoids and blast into an abyss and see the river of thoughts and desire rockets just blast dragons and here and there. Wow, mash, deceiveth by the light. Wow, who knew? No, but this person is going to say, no, it's all about just being healthy parenting. According to what? Your truth about what you're going to make them do according to your relativistic, solipsism, just self-serving, ape mash vein, parents, and now you're here and somehow you know what. So the bottom line is everyone's saying, we're doing the best we know. Wow. What a shame. And that couldn't be why things are they are. No. But of course you could say it's this and this and that. No, it's all one thing. Believe in the love of the world and relentlessly defile the love you already have. Every breathing moment. And that you may come to just overcome the flesh with the wisdom of your Father, the Creator. If you admit you're wrong, humble yourself. Forgive. And love. Love and love thy enemy, because you know the relentless love that is. the way of the Father. Unconditional love that relentlessly giveth and does not discriminate whether, oh, that person is deserving of love, but that person isn't. Because of my match image of this, bash, 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 bash. Who are you to dictate anything on this earth other than to fulfill the word of God? Wow, who knew? Who knew there was a resolve? Who knew there was a book of life? No, this person wrote many books of how to just bash your child. Yes, many probably. Upon many. Upon many, 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 many. Inyami. Wow. What bash?
If a parent is inconsistent, the child becomes confused.
What he really means is if the parent is a hypocrite, the child becomes confused. Who knew? Who knew that's when the child walks off the plank? Because the whole time they're saying, "Oh, my mom is supposed to love me. Yeah, she's she's she just believes in herself and this and wants to be something in the world, and that's why she feels she needs to split her time between me and that and this." Relentlessly, children see all this, and so ultimately they end up seeing in the image of their parents and somehow recreating that and trying to recreate their own because, oh, that you're an individual and this and that and whoa. No, just bash. More bash upon bash, 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 bash. Cluelessness upon cluelessness. The blind leading the blind. Whoa. All because one refuses to see the truth and admit you are wrong. The ways of the world are destined to the abyss, as dust is dust, ashes to ashes. But no, we believe every child will rise from the ashes like a blazing phoenix. Wow, what a shame.
And if the child becomes confused, they become erratic. They don't know where their limits are and will actually push the limits all the more in an effort to find some sense of safety.
Oh, see? Exactly. They'll just bash and bash just until they feel, guess what? Protected, guided, loved, relentlessly, unconditionally, because that couldn't be the purpose, is it? No, no, no. Mommy and daddy wanted to do their own purpose, and yes, 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 but somehow they still love me because they say so, but really, they resent me. And they probably are blind to it and just justify this. But really, they're just having you because they probably were told that having children is just what you do. And yes, it's the best thing because, oh, they're just so cute. They just look like me and this and that. And oh, they can help too. Who knew children could help? Wow, what a shame. What are children? What are children? And people will say, oh, children are the future. Yeah. Wow, what shame. You relentlessly bash yourself and say, no, the power of now. So what is the future? What are children? What are children? Wow. What is the life? What is the life? Not your life according to your image about how you feel and identify to whatever bash you want and bash and bash and bash. What is this? What is going on? Of course, this person will not even say a beep about any of this.
Unfortunately, most parents often think that, again, it's an example of misbehavior.
Oh, again, misbehavior. Because this person probably believes in, some just inherent behavior. But then his boss brain will say, no, it's just, the environmental, based on this and that and that. No, trauma, the swarm, defilement, the relentless bashing of the living everlasting life out of you, thinking you need to somehow go and suffer and die. Wow, what a shame. What a shame for any parent who has abandoned their child while believing in some love of the world that they're carnally giving to their brood, but they don't see that they're just consuming them and defiling them in their own image, so that they may just bash and bash some more in separation of the only purpose, trying to encourage them to find their purpose and do what you want. Yes, I will encourage you, sweetie. I will do anything that you want. I will. Yes, just tell me. But okay, oh, yeah. Bash, 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 bash. What is going on?
Only if children have lost hope and have been mistreated do they get to the point where they actually fight back and
Who knew a child would fight back if there is just relentless defilement going on? Who knew? Who knew? Who knew?
try to hurt?
It's like the last resort. The it's what do you do when you see just you're about to get smashed? What do you do? What do you do? Maybe the only thing you do is to hit back, because all you see is just smashing. No, it couldn't be. It couldn't be, right? Wow. No, it couldn't.
Number
What a
4
shame.
is always to keep a calm, business-like tone to your voice.
Oh, he couldn't wait to say, just treat your child like some little product that you made, and talk to it as and that you're gonna have rebuttals and all this terminology and what a shame! What a shame! Just this person has such a bash brain. It's just void. It's completely self bombed, dynamited, and concaved in and multiplexed to the inverse of the complex of just refraction and desolate, infraction, and just blasting to all sorts of different vectors and integrations of whatever Harry Potter formula this person believes in. But then that's what he sees. That's the smash and all that. That is the image that leadeth a parent to just get down on one knee just to show some sort of equal respect according to your bash mind, and just talk to them as if they were a business, as if what you're doing is just business. What a shame. And of course, this business like tone, it's absolutely revealing that he actually used that, but other people might be like positive or calm, present, like all these just bash terms, but they really mean just don't patronize them, but somehow just be encouraging and positive and just make them feel secure. What is going on? It couldn't be that parents are so bashed now that they don't even know what being a parent is, and all of a sudden they're surrounded by actual little versions of themselves, because that's actually probably what they see, and they're like, oh, what do I do? What? Oh, nobody ever told me what to do. So then they bash and learn and then parents will be like, oh, of course, there's no book on parenting. You kind of just figure it out. What shame! Of course, you just figure it out in a relative stick, voyage to the future of abyss that just defile. If that's what you believe, of course, it's just gonna be, well, as arbitrary as this bash. That means nothing, because all this means is that you're void of love. You have no idea what love is. No idea, because you don't see the truth, and your way is just the ways of the world, the broad, 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 but so pleasing certainty to, you guessed it, darkest and blackest forever and ever, the abyss.
Tip is a whole lot easier to say than to do, but it is a hallmark of good parenting.
Oh, it's a hallmark to create some just, autotom. Oh, sweetie, bring out the puppet and start doing some puppet exchanges. Sweetie, this is time to talk like puppets now. We're in public. Or, honey, I care about you, right? No matter what bash? Even a simple touch, an eye, a stare that the child sees in you, and they know. You don't even a child that learns just by the words that you tell it. It's just under it just has just become under your enchantment of murmur, because somehow they have been drawn to that, and that's how they have developed a false sense of love to you. But just creating some compliance to your murmur, and then by your acceptance of that, then they say, oh yes, this is love, because they know you're a hypocrite. So how could they have no idea what love is, because they know you don't know. So it's just a setup for just defilement after generation. Why? All it took was a split mind from what? Living. Becoming aware, and then creating yourself in your image as you see it. Relentlessly being deceiveth by your own sense of grandeur. In that you see this as an opportunity to overthrow God, overcome, because but based on what? Based on the illusion that the flesh is eternal, including light. But the Creator has spoken light into being and formed us from the dust and gave us the breath of life. So do we see the truth of the way and the life, or do we see the lie of the false promise of creating some image that is just relentlessly being defiled?
One can only do that if they know that they're separate from the child. If they feel that the child is a reflection on them, if they feel their own shame because of difficulty with their own upbringing, then they're going to overreact.
Who knew that there's no such thing as shame? That's the murmur of the light telling you it's you have just, you messed up. But that's it, because then you're relentlessly trying to figure, well, how did I mess up, and what did I do this? It couldn't be that. Yes, man will stumble. Pick up yourself and keep walking in a way. Endure the flash by. You guessed it. Relentlessly seeing the truth and resisting temptation to boast and think yourself something in the image that you see. When we're in the image of God, we're here to resolve, overcome the flesh with the truth, stand on it no matter what. Meaning, we won't be deceived. We won't be derailed from the way. And of course, there will come a generation of generations when the truth will be undeniable. And the swarm at that point had been done anything to keep you. They cannot destroy the truth. They can just keep you from the truth by the image you see and the belief and the relentless light that you giveth your everlasting life to, instead of giving it in worship to the Father who hath created you. So who knew a child that has that love from the parent and is guided in the truth based on that would not be confused. Would not be confused. And who knew that they would cometh to you for guidance and wisdom? Because to the father and mother cometh the life everlasting, that is ultimately the protection under Christ that came and showed us the way, and man is following it with, yes, the families together. Yes. Not all trying to find out their own little purposes here and there and there. Wow, who knew? Who knew? Who knew?
In other words, the parent is going to act childlike, and the child will not take the parent seriously.
Wow, who knew? Because it's all just pretending. Who knew a child could see when you're pretending to be just a fool? Wait, no, because you are a fool.
If the parent is calm and realizes that the behavior is just about a child growing and learning, then the parent will not overreact.
Oh, yeah, because it's just about the child learning and growing. Just like a little plant. It's learning how to stretch and open up and go up and down with the sun and this and that. What are you saying? Bottom line is this. What are children? What is a child? And ultimately, of course, parents probably in a majority think children to be just, oh, just so wonderful. And I love my child so much. But how have you guided your child in the truth? And you'll say, well, I did everything based on what I knew best and in my truth that I knew and blah blah mash. If it was in your image, it was mash. Because how can you create something that already is? You cannot. And that couldn't be why possibly there is the sufferings of the world. Why? Because of the belief that one is separate from the love of the Father, meaning the relentless love that giveth life everlasting. Feeling ashamed and self aware, you sought to one another to fulfill the love that you had denied because of your own doubt. How did you come to doubt? Well, as far as generations show, it's because of a relentless belief and worship of the light.
There is another good reason to keep the voice calm. If a young person sees an older person get tremendously upset, that makes them feel very powerful. They don't really connect that they are hurting the older person. All they know is that they were able to get an
Right. They're hurting the older person. So this person is going to say, right. So if you yell at her, that means that if they're trying to hurt me. It couldn't be that they just see you doing that and they're like, wow, what a shame. And that they might cry or just become traumatized because they know, they know, they know what you're doing. And they're crying out, what are you doing?
adult to act like a kid, and that is marvelous to them. If a parent keeps detached and knows that children don't behave because that's the nature of being a child, then the parent can calmly tell them what they want done. If the parent gets hung up on controlling the behavior,
Oh, right. All these little nip nap of manipulations.
and getting their first desire, then there will be trouble. The parent should feel content with getting their second wish. And the second wish is always the teaching consequence. The fifth
Oh, the teaching consequence. See, they're gonna explain. See, it's not the behavior. It's that you're maybe not listening to me, and this and that and this and that and this and that. So they're just blasting them with some logic, right? And the child just yep, yep, bash, bash, bash. The child knows it, but all the time you think you're so being so fair and just, and the child might even say fine, like whatever. By that point, they stop caring. Like whatever they were doing, they probably just forgot. And you see that as wow, he understood. And if you say you understood, and the kid says yep, then you're like wow, he understood. Wow, who knew a child could learn all these so-called bad behaviors just by looking at the parent and how they're just manipulative.
principle is to stay detached and to not take the misbehavior personally. Usually, children are just testing limits, which is how they learn. They are not really challenging the parent.
Oh, he wants you to believe that they're not challenging the parent; they're just learning. What a shame! What a shame! Anything a child does is because, of course, the influences that it surrounds, and is ultimately relentlessly targeted. So what does a parent do instead? Oh, just opens them more up by teaching them the ways of the world. What a shame.
This is one of the most common mistakes that parents make. When they take things personally, they often drop down to the level of the child in their actions. It often degenerates into a power struggle.
Wow, who knew that a parent that believes in Bosch would treat their child like Bosch? Who knew? So now they have to just bash themselves into seeing some sort of bash in them and saying, yeah, I guess, yeah, yeah, oh, yes, of course it's so logic. Oh, yeah, of course I should be just more grateful and not know that they don't know any better. So, oh, of course I'm not gonna take it personally. Yes, take it personally, you fool. You're smashing, okay? You're smashing and you don't even know it. You're shattering yourself and ultimately the children that are around you.
Only children can win power struggles because once a parent acts childlike, they lose all their credibility.
Oh, bash, bash, bash. It's not a two-way street here. Any parent that's like, oh, my children don't show me any appreciation. Da, da, da. Could it be that it's because they have zero clue what it means? And all the while you're looking for it in them, thinking, oh, I'm doing my best to love them and I show them and I do all these things for them. Well, the ritual that they learned from your bashhood, and now they're doing it perfectly. And now you're just like, where's all the love? Who knew? You had no clue. Who knew you had been seduced and you're following some bashhood love that will somehow fulfill your life? Because it couldn't be that the children could ever give you anything, right? Because that's what a parent wants. They want everything. They want the world because they worship the world. So of course, a child is just another thing in the world. So they see them as just utility. They see them as, oh, yes, of course I love them. They're my child. They will turn into the fury if you even challenge them. You say to a parent, "Do you love your child?" And they will just smash you and say, "How dare you? How dare you have a question if I love them?" Of course. Wow, is that a loving? Is that Is that how a person responds that knows love? Or they immediately go, "Who are you to judge? Who are you to judge?" Immediately, defensive, the fury comes out. And just machine guns down anything in its path that's just against their image that they just relentlessly believe. What a shame.
The sixth principle is never to argue or discuss the issue with the child until after the consequence is given. Then reinforce and
Yeah, after they've had a chance to cool down and think about what they've done, right? What bosh.
welcome the child back from the consequence with encouragement and discuss what took place. Parents often feel more comfortable with the encouragement and loving part of the job anyway.
And then there's bash parents that believe that it should be a loving process the whole way through. Just hug them. Don't you think a child that knows you're a hypocrite and they might be angry, or they know that they've misbehaved somehow, and you call them over and they come over, and or you go over there to them and just impose yourself on them and say, I love you, I'm here. That just angers the child more, because they know you're being more of a hypocrite and you're just manipulating them to just give in to the false love that the parent is offering them. All because, oh, the parent feels they're just so humble and they're exposing and just say, yes, I love you, child. Yes, I love you so much. It couldn't be that you're behaving bash because I've been bashing you the whole time. No, it couldn't be that. It just has to come down to breakdowns and situations, and dealing with the bad behavior and this and the other and the consequences for that behavior. What behavior? Why don't you talk about bashhood? But no, you won't. You will never teach the child about bashhood, because bashhood is the most excellent. It's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. And you could go out there and smash your own image and recreate yourself and bash and bash and bash. Forget the life everlasting. Live the life and the promises of the world. Yes, yes, yes. What shame.
They want to discuss things and get a logical adult to adult decision with their children. Kids are often not
Oh, adult situation. Shame.
capable of that when they're young. After the consequence is given, then reinforcing and welcoming the child back from the consequence begins to make real sense. And that's when you can discuss what happened and why it happened.
What shame. It couldn't be that a child knows if he's veering from the truth that they know. And that opens them up to the swarm. And why did they? Straight from the truth that they knew. because reckless abandon from the parents. There was no protection. There was a pseudo love there for them that they've been programmed to just take what you can get, sweetie, because mommy and daddy want to be part of the world, and they're gonna show me how to be part of the world, hopefully. But no, because time and time again, and today all you need are the day in day out to just see what bashhood we're perpetuating.
This is applicable for rules that have already been talked about within the family. If it's a new situation, one in which the child would not understand what was happening, then a parent might want to talk with the child first.
I mean, of course, people are gonna say, "Oh, there's just so many ways to raise a child." Who knew? Yet somehow everybody believes in equality and equity and all this bash. How can you have any sort of, congruency in any of your sectors of mashhood and bashhood, if right from the get go there's there's no orientation for a child that is sold to the highest bidder of the ways of the world, the trafficker of the world, whoever promises the best for your child in the things that glitter, a promise, false hope.
But if the child is talking back or making a mistake that is against the rules that they know about, the parent should rely on immediate consequences to help the child learn.
Wow. I mean, what's next?
If the
It's all
child doesn't
bash.
sit still and eat in a polite manner at the dinner table, then they simply shouldn't be allowed to finish that meal.
They shouldn't be allowed to finish that meal.
They should go to their room. It's not going to kill them. They'll quickly make the connection between the behavior and the consequence.
Or just instill more bash and more bash because yes, of course, parents 99.9999999% of parents are hypocrites. So the child is relentlessly learning just relentless injustice in the home, being told it's love because the parents have zero bearing on the truth, the life, and the way, and they're creating their own smashed vessel interpretation of life, just shattering against other, just relentless shallows. Okay, the friction and friction you, but it feels so good, so you continue because the world rewardeth those who worship the light in the flesh, with the false promise of somehow bettering yourself and feeling just so much gratitude for somehow how awesome I am and what all the things I have. What shame.
The seventh principle is to provide a quiet place for the time out and to isolate them from.
So every parent is gonna be, oh well, I don't believe in the time out. That's so ancient. That's that's like prison. I mean, what bashwood coming from a parent that has zero love to give their child. What shame.
Other family members. It is important to ignore the child's verbalizations while they are in timeout. The time only starts after they are quiet.
Because all of this is to just show what is. This is not to say, whoa, we need to change this. Well, no. No, the signs, the seasons, the years. What do you see? What do you see?
And starts over if the child speaks or comes out of the room. The length of time out should be age appropriate, 1 minute for each age of the child.
Oh, so there's a whole formula. Who knew there was a whole Harry Potter mash of spells that you could just bash and ritualize into your child? Who knew? And where did that wisdom come from? Man, of course.
A parent needs to ignore the child's verbalizations while they are in timeout, and the timeout should only stop after they're
Right, so just ignore them.
quiet. If a parent has to hit or spank a child, it's a breakdown in parenting, especially if a parent hits with anger.
Oh. Who knew a child knew when you hit with anger? Who knew?
It does not need to happen if one is an effective parent. A parent should take things calmly and do things in a business.
Who knew that your all these points are just things that parents will relentlessly not be able to fulfill? Because you're telling them to act as though they were sons and daughters of God while worshiping Satan and doing Satan's bidding and his way as he seduces you into the abyss, devouring you and your children in all the glories of the love you thought you had in that image. Wow, what a shame.
Like tone. They need to be consistent, act early enough so the behavior does not escalate, and they will not need to resort to physical violence. If a parent does resort to physical violence, a child is usually going to forget about whatever infraction they have committed, and they are going to focus on how badly they are being treated.
Who knew? Who knew you're explaining Boschhood? Who knew? Yet everybody's just told to just grow up and mature and well, who knew life was just so difficult? You just have to go out and bash and make your way and create your enterprise and network with more bash and bash and bash and bash relentlessly. All for whatever purpose you deem worthy one day and the next the other and shifting blah 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 as long as it has meaning and somehow fulfills you. No, it defiles you, yes, relentlessly. And you're self-boasting, blasting to some abyss where you just watch the desire rockets go left and right. What a shame.
If a parent treats a child unfairly, they will fight back. In a power struggle, the parent will always lose because a child can act more childlike than an adult for a longer period of time.
Oh. It's not a fleshly battle, it's a spiritual battle. And if you're at that if you're even dealing with these issues, you're totally in the flesh, just bashing. Because no wonders it has to come to that because there is no bearing. There's no truth in you, there's no guidance in you, there's no life in you. And the child knows it. And that's why it's just why would it ever listen to you? Why would it ever listen? And so, yes, it's just the blind leading the blind because now you have to be at their level and this and that and not, be too at their level because then there's no respect. Bash hood. Who knew that there is a behavior that does not defile? And a parent standing in that completely is the beacon of life for the child that they will relentlessly worship in you. And why wouldn't they listen to you if they saw in you the truth, not some fabricated manipulation that you're trying to do because you love them by this, but you have to show them and blah blah this and that, but smashed bash mind, all because you're shattered.
And they will not stop. The timeout needs to be in absolute isolation. Timeout simply means that the child is going to take a little bit of time by themselves, taking them away from the family society and giving them a chance to calm down. It's a very effective way to do it.
Okay, who gives a damn? Because you could have another legion ways of dealing with a situation that the parent will then be like, oh, it's so progressive and blah blah mash. Because it's just another ritual that the child will just be shattered into fractals of fractals, further from the truth. Because it couldn't be that the child is just blind. He's been blinded. He's been relentlessly blinded by you, the parent who knows not love, and denies the life everlasting. And no wonders the child would be just devastated. And who knew that that would appear to the mashed ape brain to think, oh, teenage years. Who knew that that's when what they're just fed up with the hypocrisy of the parent and yes of the world. They say, what is going on? I'm just maybe I have the answer, and I'm just gonna do what I want. Wow, who knew that they were just believing more in the light, even more relentlessly than their parents and generation prior? Who knew? Just relentlessly, just feeding them, boasting them that they are the phoenix rising from the ashes. Wow, what a shame. Not knowing that they have been relentlessly defiled, because there is no protection without the truth. You will bash and bash others. So what do you see? What do you see? And do you walk the way, or do you stand and worship two masters? What are you doing?
Anything the child says after they're in timeout should be totally ignored. Very often, parents will try to come in and negotiate or yell at the child to get them to stop. All that does is reinforce to the child that the parent is still involved, and one wants to take away all that involvement with a timeout. Isolation is painful enough for a child. A parent wants to make sure that the length of time.
Who knew that a parent may say to their child things that are true, and that child would know? Because, yes, children see. They know how to see. They see life everlasting. Because who knew that the process of that which brings them forth has it upon the parent to be the unconditional love in the flesh of the child, but to relentlessly be to seek to devour by the swarm. So it's a relentless spiritual battle for the parent, so that it will relentlessly stand in truth to provide that protection for the child. And the moment the parent stumbles, so will the child. Who knew? Who knew?
Stays age appropriate. 1 minute for each age of the child. Timeout provides
Again, formula, bosh.
a place for a child to learn about self-discipline.
Oh, he couldn't wait. He couldn't wait. Whoa, just self discipline, because you're your own master. So the kid's just gonna say, well, why should I listen to you then if I'm just my own master? Oh well, Billy, it's because you're still a kid, and the world is so complex and much. Wow. See, it's bashhood upon bashhood upon bashhood.
It's not punishing a child once he or she is already calm. Parents should make sure that whatever consequence is used is small enough in nature that if the child repeats the misbehavior again, time can get tacked on or doubled.
Oh, right. Just using prison tactics on a child. And who gives a damn? Because Any parent is gonna try anything as long as the child does what I say, when I say, and bah, right? What a shame.
So the child basically begins to learn that a parent really means business. If the parent starts with a gigantic consequence, or one that is not possible, such as you're grounded for the rest of your life, the child is not going to take it seriously. There's nowhere for the parent to go, and the parent has painted themselves into a corner.
Oh, right. This is all just trauma upon trauma. Because who knew Bashwood would give Bashwood? Who knew?
Usually, when someone makes an inappropriate suggestion for a consequence, it means that they are out of control themselves, not the child.
Oh.
Usually, when someone makes an inappropriate suggestion for a consequence, it means that they are out of control themselves.
Oh. He couldn't wait. Right? Just constant one upping, you know? It couldn't be that this person is just pointing out some obvious that somehow is, hidden. So what is this person saying?
Not the child. The eighth principle is to work together as parents. If you disagree with a particular concept,
Oh, he's gonna say, you have to have a unified front so that the child doesn't learn how to manipulate one or the other, blah blah blah, or just be split further, right? Because either way, it's split, split, smash, smash, splinter, splinter. But again, work together as parents. Who knew that a husband and wife become one flesh? But no, the light to see and to believe in you are separate, and you have individualism and some sort of, you know, you need to work together. Just okay, come to a compromise and then have some unified front. Just okay, talk it over. This is what our values are. This. Okay, okay. Do you have my back, honey? Yes, I got your back, honey. Bosh. Because it couldn't be that the husband loves his father, his creator, with all his heart and might, and he giveth that relentless love the father giveth him as he had been created, and had it that to just relentlessly give to his family. Wow, who knew? Who knew? And that the mother has relentless love and guidance to instill in the children, and that both the wife and husband are enduring the flesh as one flesh in the spiritual battle. Yes, amen, hallelujah, forever and ever. Yes.
consequence. Try waiting until after the incident to discuss it with your partner, and try not to take suggestions as a personal affront. Very often, I see one parent who plays good cop and another one who plays bad cop.
Who knew? Because they're shattered. They have no bearing of any sense of truth, always relentlessly calling right wrong and wrong right, just defiling.
And what they're really trying to do is balance each other out. In reality, one parent is probably much more comfortable with the encouragement and affection part of parenting, and another sees the discipline and limit setting as the more important task.
Wow, who knew that there's a way and a truth and the life? So, what is our place as a man, as a son and as sons and daughters of God that are relentlessly deceived to believing and worshiping in the light, thinking that they are the light and the love loving itself just relentlessly over and over again, hoping to ascend from the ashes. Wow, what a shame.
If parents are split, they will try to balance each other out by moving further out into a skewed position. So if one parent feels that the other
Wow, who
parent
knew that one parent would want to just instill their version of truth and right, and the other parent would be no.
is being too lenient?
All because, of course, based on false, the counterfeits. They're just counterfeits. So it's like a counterfeit telling the other counterfeit, look, this way is right and yours is wrong. No, what are you saying?
They'll become more rigid. The more lenient parent will see that rigidity and they will try to
Okay, because the truth is undeniable. Okay? The truth is undeniable. So could it be that the truth is the only guidance a child ever needs? So as long as you have that to convey to your child at relentlessly, the truth, not some, oh, it's all about intonation and this, and that. Oh, physical anger, this, oh. Well, of course, pointing out the obvious, bashhood. Who knew that if parents are bash, they're gonna bash? So this person's saying, well, you gotta look at certain aspects of the bashhood and say, listen, I have control over those things. So okay, maybe I should just recreate my image and shuffle, put the couch over here and the chair there and the light over here. Get rid of that box, put this box in there, in and out and in and out. The figure is so good. Yes. You've recreated yourself, and now, wow, you're such a great parent for worshiping in yourself. What a shame.
to take an even more tolerant position. Eventually, there is no meeting in the middle, and the child will see and manipulate that split easily.
Oh, who knew?
This is not misbehavior. The child learns how to get their way, and that is what they're supposed to do.
Oh, because they couldn't know. It couldn't be that they've already learned that from all the years of seeing their parent just relentlessly try to get their own way in life, in the false hope, in the false promise function of their brains that give it their own image that just devours. And yes, it needs more. It needs appreciation and relentless love of the world constantly for it to feel fulfilled. Wow, what shame! What shame!
Only later will they develop a
And I say shame because they believe in shame. Because they think, oh, well, shame is a good thing. It's a good thing to feel. It shows you this and that and this. Wow. Shame is ultimately a result of believing in the lie. And that's probably one of the few things that point directly at the truth, but are not the truth. But through shame, and any other emotion stands the truth relentlessly, always. And the power of now that you so believe in, but just batter it away thinking that you can just bash your way forward with your own truth. And the other person is believing the same thing. So where are they going? Where are they going? What are they doing? All thinking they're holding hands to something, blah, blah, blah. Well, mash. You're all raising all bash children. And who knew that generation after generation, that's as far as we can tell what we've been doing for the last at least 3 or 4 generations, the last 100 years at least, for those who might even still be alive. That's all we can attest to. Anything else is just bash. Bash. But we bash that into our children, and somehow, who knew it would just perpetuate it because it believeth and the bash that made it. Wow, what a shame. Who knew that what you believe in actually relentlessly shows you it and just shows you the shatter of your image that you're relentlessly bringing in and calling it life, and relentlessly bringing, of course, the life that is the thing that you're actually using and abusing and defiling to somehow create and boast yourself into the abyss. Wow, what a shame. What a shame.
Sophisticated conscience. The ninth principle is to
Sophisticated
use praise and encouragement
conscience.
often, but it is important not to use it excessively.
Oh, use praise and encouragement. Who knew that's just enchantment. You're just using magic on your child because your child doesn't need praise or encouragement if they know the truth. But no, anything but the truth, right? Just anything but the truth because I love my child so much. I wouldn't want to teach my child lies. No. Oh, of course. Deceived instantly, right there. And with that, they move and defile. Just they have succumbed to the swarm. They are ambassadors of the swarm.
Men often seem to specialize in limits and discipline, which is an important part of parenting. But encouragement and affection
Who knew that the man, that the father does see? I mean, what is the limit? Only the father knows. Because we are created in his image. We see the masterpiece. Yet we are using the masterpiece to create our own image. Wow, what shame. What's that? I just it is uh just everything. It's so deserving, of course. It's just truly humbling because it is inevitable. It must be because as it is, it must be. And of course, all of us get what we deserve relentlessly, day in, day out. Meaning we have the life everlasting, but according to our belief and our relentless devotion and worship of our image, we're defiling ourselves because we're denying truth, the truth of life everlasting. That we just then complain and claim victimhood to the 33 degree and just can't get over why can't people just get along? Why can't people? It's just so sad. No, it's because everyone moves relentlessly forward in their self righteousness, not recognizing there's only truth, and anything else is ultimately destined to perish.
are equally beneficial. However, if a person uses praise too much, it begins to mean nothing to the child.
Well, who knew that all these emotions mean nothing because they mean nothing without the love of the Father. That's why emotions are a sense of false. It's the counterfeit because it's purely just the experienced and defined and visualized as just a fleshly engagement. But what is the love of the Father? What is the love of the Father? What is it? What is it? What is the life and the way of the Father? What do we see? Based on what we see is yes, what we're gonna ultimately smash against relentlessly over and over and over again. So what do you see? Do you want to be in truth, be completely just yes, smashed, meaning completely just engulfed and just one with the truth, or do you want to be smashed and just be smashed for the sake of having your truth as your beacon of light that you worship, and that will propel you into just it will blast you and perpetuate you forward no matter what, because it's so true and it feels so good to you. Wow, amazing.
Remember that up to the age of 12, children see things as black and white.
Up until the age of 12, children see things as black and white and are unable to understand exceptions to the rule. Who knew that, of course, a child sees life everlasting truth? They know. And that up until age 12, they have been defiled relentlessly by the parent, if not shown the truth and the wisdom of the father. And so, after 12, guess what? Rebellion. Just relentless. Against ultimately the parent that, just defiled them and bashed them. And now that they have this sense of attachment to the parent, and yes, of course, love, but love of the world. Because ultimately, the child will have to um, later realize that they have this resentment and this trauma with their parent, and they'll have to overcome. They have to realize that they must forgive their parents for selling them into the world in order to return to the love of the father that they were led astray from. Even though it was there the whole time, but based on the image that they were led to create and just bash into, and then go out into the world and bash, they strayed. They strayed from the way. Who knew? So if you stray from the way, then you're opening yourself to just relentless defilement over and over and over and over, more and more, and to the exponent of the 33rd degree of bashhood.
They are unable to understand exceptions to the rule. If you exhibit inconsistency, they will believe they have been lied to.
Oh,
It is important to explain exceptions patiently to the child.
so this is just he couldn't wait. They see things as black and white, meaning they have discernment. They have the discernment of the Father. Yet they're relentlessly being defiled to think, oh, it's just relative. It's just depending on this and that and this and that. It's just so complicated. Don't worry, sweetie. It's just you'll learn. You'll just get older and get more defiled, and you'll understand what I mean. Wow, how sad, truly, for the parent, because what they think they're doing is actually the opposite of the outcome that they're setting themselves up for and their children. Certain death because of the belief in a way of your own to some life.
And not to expect too much. If a parent exhibits inconsistency often, the child will tend to believe that they've been lied to consistently, and the parent then has a difficult job of persuading them that there are even things such as exceptions. It's something that children will understand later in their development.
Oh, oh, we couldn't wait. Later. Later, it all comes later in their development. Don't you mean in their mashhood and their bashhoods and their bashhood upon bashhood? Because who knew having the child of the mind of a child is amazing. A child will call a dirty old man a dirty old man. But if the child is relentlessly manipulated and defiled by a dirty old man that says he's a Nice old man. Who knew that would be trauma?
The 11th principle is to keep in mind that children personalize absolutely everything. They are unable to see their mistakes are only about behavior. Instead, they will view it as if their personhood is bad and they are themselves not good enough. This
Oh, that is only the response of a child that is bashed into thinking that, depending on their behavior, is how they will get rewarded by the flesh. So instilling in them in this reward and receive of the flesh. It couldn't be that it's a relentless receiving. Receiving of what? Life everlasting. Wow, who knew? No, instead it's just about rewards and taking away and rewards and taking away and rewards. Wow, bashhood. Bashhood.
will produce shame. Reiterate that mistakes are about behavior and not personhood. Children are unable on their own to make this connection. Therefore, it has to be taught to them patiently and often.
Wow, who knew that you are so in tune with the life and that any distortion or any defilement of it is it is at a personal level. So why wouldn't the child take it personal if it's being defiled? And why would the child not take it personal if it's being shown the truth? Why can it say, wow? It just has to detach, you know, or know that it's okay, but sometimes learn to detach from it. Learn to detach from it, and then you can create your own persona. And you can be smashed in millions and thousands of different personalities. And you can pick your own. Just mold it and mash it into it. Make just become, oh, so funny.
The 12th principle is offer the child numerous opportunities to help with tasks that the parents are involved with.
Oh, if you're trying to get out, showing a child what work is, start by telling them it's a spiritual battle, not a battle against, dustpans and garbage bags and cleaning rooms and making your bed and keeping your toys in buckets and wow, what bash. Or making sure you take your dish to the sink and take your shoes off and bob mash. What is, what are you by being cleanliness doesn't make you godly like, okay? By being a neat freak doesn't make you godlike. It makes you bashed and smashed, and you're bashing and smashing. All the while you're giving yourself an illusion of some sort of fulfilled life. Wow. So what tasks that the parents are involved in are you gonna get the children involved? Would it be in the ways of everlasting life? Uh, would it be based on truth? Having the way clearly shown and just relentlessly clear to us. No, no, no.
Children love to belong and to feel useful, especially when very young. They often become discouraged if told they are too young to be helpful.
Who knew a child would be just so ready to receive truth? Who knew? Who knew a child was just so ready to be filled and relentlessly shown the love of the Father and the truth of the way and the life? Wow, no, it couldn't be. It couldn't be. It couldn't be. And of course, any child that doesn't receive that love is just gonna wanna just feel like he belongs. Uh, Mommy, Daddy, make me feel important for the things and jokes I say. Mommy, Daddy, please make me this. Oh, okay, I'll help with this as long as I feel your false love. Wow, what shame.
When this occurs, the child often becomes rebellious. The 13th principle is remember
Wow, who knew a child would just say enough?
that children have a different sense of time than adults do. To them, 1 minute is an hour. Therefore, if you tell the child you will be back to talk with them in a minute, and they begin,
Who knew children don't give a damn about time? Because time is just a Harry Potter smash hit of brainwashing that we then impose into everything that we call life. Wow, who knew? Who knew? All because of worship of the light. Who knew?
to bother you in 10 seconds, they are really complying with what you have said. Misbehaving just in order to finish the fight. Parents often try too hard.
So some of the best, again, if I think it didn't record it, but sometimes the best parenting is the least active. Yes. Who knew that just with why would you even have to talk to your child? A simple eye contact will just say everything. So what is a child being guided to see? And what does a child know based on the certainty of the parent? What is a child in tune and relentlessly abiding in to and for? What certainty is bestowed within the child? Or is it just relentless confusion and bashwood?
It appears that they're more worried about how they look to other people and if they're doing a good job. Therefore, they try to manage every little bit of behavior. It would be best if parents really pick and choose their battles. Most often, when they let children do things by themselves or trust the natural consequences to teach, things go much better.
Oh. So all this bash before, but he's saying, well, just sometimes just sit back and watch the chaos happen. And that's somehow better. What are you saying? What are you saying? And you might say, oh, even a child that knows the truth Of course, it's wow. Who knew temptation is relentless? So all the parent can and must do is showeth, showeth the way, and that's why it's a physical. It's not a physical. It's a spiritual battle. So it doesn't matter if, for example, a child comes from a poor family, but if their father stood in truth, that child has all they need to endure the life, the counterfeit life, endure the flesh, overcome the flesh, and return to the Father. Yes.
When I was doing my graduate work at University of Oregon, they had a wonderful family studies program there. And a particular instructor would take over an elementary school one Saturday a month, and he would invite everyone from Eugene, Oregon to come. They could bring their children, and the kids would be looked after by the counseling students. The parents could either get marital therapy or family therapy, and they could do that free as long as the counselors were able to observe and to watch. The teacher,
Oh,
Raylo, would take half of the counselors and
and who knew that behavior that is being observed behaves differently?
put them up in the bleachers, and then he'd watch the interaction with the kids and the other half of the counselors.
And ultimately, that is the that is a very sneaky thing because they say in quantum physics that the results of the experiments depend on if it's being observed or not, or what's observing it, or all this nonsense. And so, could it be that in our disbelief that there is an all-knowing Father, omnipotent and just omnipresent, and just that, yes, we are in His image. So how could He not know us? He knows our heart.
Down in the orchestra pit. Invariably, one of the kids would come up and push another kid, and Ray would point out to the counselors up in the bleachers to watch how the counselors in the pit were going to respond. Before the other kid had a chance to push back, there were at least 3 counselors all over them.
Oh, so they were being watched, and just bash, bash, bash. It couldn't be that the child just wants to be seen because he is led to believe that he's just alone. He wants to be seen by the light because that's what everything around him worships, including his parents. Being told that no, you must just go out and make your purpose, you lazy child. Go out and find your purpose. All because they have a bad sense of purpose that they think they're smashing in. And they are smashing, defiling, and renegading and defiling, and just it's a bloodbath. But the Father knoweth your heart. And so if you're relentlessly inscribing it, the stone heart of man, of course your Father is going to say, well, as you believed, so it will be. It's the flesh. Yet, if you see and know, meaning let it be, you. Be and live. Be and live. What exactly? The creation of God that you are. And that is the way. Be it. Who knew that the Father showeth the way. Yet you must abandon your pride of the image that you so lustfully desire and want for yourself because that's what you feel you deserve. And that everybody just wants to be happy and they deserve to just have that image. Wow. Wow.
Because counselors love to help and they want to be involved. That's why they got into the field. For the rest of the
Oh, because they want to help, right? No, not possibly because they were just doing this to defile and then just get the data to just go and bash more.
afternoon, those kids would try to finish their original fight. The counselors would have to get involved over and over again, all to no avail. If the counselors did not get involved, didn't try to do any kind of interaction, the other child might push one more time, and then the fight would usually be over. The only time parents need to get involved is if it is really dangerous. It is helpful for children to try to take care of the
And you might say, oh, boys will be boys. Oh, these children will be children. They're just learning. Let them explore and play and play. Whose playground are they playing on? What surface of what image are they playing with? Exactly. Clueless. Clueless. What grounds, if not grounds of truth, are your children playing in? Are they playing in Neverland, perhaps? Leading to believe that that is the life, that is the promise, that is the false promise that they have waiting for them? Wow.
problems themselves. And for the most part, they can do it. Therefore, the 15th principle is to be careful to discipline only when really necessary. Oftentimes, parents try to control their children because they themselves are responding to feelings that are coming from their own history.
Well, who knew that the parent was bashed? Who knew?
And that do
And they will continue to be bashed until they repent and admit that they were wrong in trying to create themselves a heart of stone so that they could go out and smash the world with it. No, repent, and yes, the Father reneweth the heart, give you a heart of flesh so you may overcome the flesh through the Father's wisdom that filleth if you just accept the only gift, the only purpose. Yes, life everlasting. So what do you see? What do you see? Do you see just a trail of discipline that just made your child a good person? And teaching them self-discipline and self-love and self-healing and soul retrieval and blah, 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 mash, huffing and puffing and stretching and blood, sweat, and tears because no pain, no gain. You never get what you want, but somehow you just gotta bash and make a purpose and go out and get what you want. Yes. Yes. Wow.
not match the present situation. An example would be when parents are feeling overly anxious by their child's behavior, when in reality, most people would not view their actions as misbehavior.
Oh, who knew that they're deceived? Who knew? But no, the parent is just saying, well, I'm just doing the best I can in my bashed image. Yeah, 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 yeah. And poor me, I lived through bash too when I was a kid, so now I'm just, oh, poor me. Victim to the 33rd degree and you don't even know it. Wow. Worshipper of light, doing the bidding of the light. That is what you guessed it, defiling it into believing it's the promise of yourself. You're the promise to yourself, and you created yourself, and that's why you're gonna go and join your galactic family because you are light and you're love. And whoa, 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 bash, 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 bash.
This reinforces what I said at the very beginning of this video, which is that very often any unresolved issues out of childhood are brought back up again with the parents' own kids, especially when they
Wow, who knew life was so amazing? Who knew life was relentlessly giving? And that we would have a generation upon generation to show us what? The truth. So what do you see? What do you
are
see?
relatively close to the same.
Do you see just victim, 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 and how to overcome situation and this and that to some better image where you feel and relentlessly pump positivity and good feelings of happy, happy, bliss, 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 bash, bash, false appreciation, false love, false this, false counterfeit, counterfeit to the extra counterfeit. But yes, this it's just split truth, and I just have to pick up all the pieces and connect the dots, and somehow well, mashed. Mash mind, mash mind, mash mind, mash behavior. Who knew that there was a way that sees that defileth, and a way that seeth that to just relentlessly just brings you back home? Who knew?
Age that the event occurred in the parents' lives. It's part of a repetition compulsion that is talked about more in the love addiction and dysfunctional family.
Oh, he's just gonna drop those terms and love addiction. Could it be that we're all just love addicts because we have no clue what love is? So we just go out and try and get some resemblance of it out of the flesh, just relentlessly, without a veil, without even coming close to it.
Videos as well as PTSD. It's uncanny the way this dynamic tends to keep recurring. It is the most dramatic and easiest to understand if a person was abused physically as a child.
Oh, okay.
The overwhelming
So
tendency.
you just must understand it and just deal with it and tolerate it and try to just do your best. Forgive, okay? Forgive. Don't try to reason it out. No, you are wrong. Forgive as a father forgiveth. Because the only thing that's unforgivable is your own defilement of the life everlasting. And it's unforgivable because ultimately it is actually the resolve. And there will be those in the living that think they're living that will just choose that. Choose. Who knew the Father loved us so much that ultimately it's our choice? Meaning, it is since you doubted, now do you accept or do you pursue your own doubt and try and prove yourself right, which is a dead end? Meaning, how can you possibly prove yourself right when you were created? There's nothing for you to prove. Nothing. The purpose is to see the truth. So who knew denial of the truth would just be like a thought that never existed. The abyss.
Tendency is for them to abuse somebody else or to get abused over and over. And very often they take that abuse out on their kids when they're the same age as it occurred in their lives. It isn't deliberate, it just tends to happen naturally. But it is certainly a parent's job to figure that out and to stop it before it happens.
Figure it out before it happens. So what are you saying? Figure it out before you have children? No. The only thing that must happen in order for this to stop is to repent. Admit you're wrong. No man will ever save himself. No man's wisdom will ever save his bashed mind. For it's a spiritual battle for your soul. So what do you see? Will your soul be just devoured by the swarm in believing and worshiping the swarm? Or will it return to the Father that you strayed from? Because he showeth. But what do you see?
If a parent feels overwhelmed, if a situation is creating too much emotion, they need to look at the idea that they might be reacting partly from their own history. They need to try to figure out what that history is and fix it themselves rather than to just try to fix the child.
Oh, fix them. That's why, parents, fix yourself instead of trying to fix the child. Wow. No. No man can fix himself. No, no, no. A man can only defile himself and bring himself further into the light. A man cannot fix his own image that he believes in. For it is what he ultimately has given his life for. So, how can you fix it if it's just everything that is that is life to you? Because the only one that renews life that you relentlessly defile is the Father. Love everlasting, life everlasting, in truth. That cuts deeper than any fleshly sword. Break away the hardening of your stoned heart.
The 16th principle is to view discipline as teaching and caring because that is what it is.
View discipline as teaching and caring. Yes, discipline is teaching and caring. All these words. Why can't he say the truth will teach and care for you? But no, it's discipline. Man's discipline over the flesh. Man's law and dominion and authority over other men that just bash and bash and bash.
There is no need to feel guilty for helping your child. Being firm with a child is absolutely fine. It's part of a parent's job.
Wow, who knew that any notion of being soft and gentle is just bash? Because truly, life and the truth don't discriminate. The truth, in most cases, if not all the time, is unbearable. Because we believed in lies so badly and have become so dependent for our self worth in it and all this kind of stuff that it's just easier to just create your truth and move forward and not give a damn. What shame.